What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 57 of the XtraSlice, brought to you by the Cheesy Controller Podcast. I'm your host, Anton in Extreme Pain LaPlatte. Joining me, as always, we have the Mayor of Stardew Valley and Eorzea, Chris Montalbano.
What's up, everybody?
We got the most degenerate squid in the sea, Jalen Roberts.
The Empire's about to catch these hands.
We got the Akatsuki Durag, Madrid Devon.
I'm rebranding as Project Sunny Chifa.
And joining us for the first time on this podcast in like a standalone XtraSlice deal, we have the British Brachydios himself, Cam, aka Flyritchie.
Monkeys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate y'all. Feels good to be here.
You like doing that a little too much.
We got a jam-packed episode for you guys this week. We're going to be talking about this 50-minute Nintendo Direct that went down today. We're going to be talking about our experiences in Eorzea because we've all been playing Final Fantasy XIV, except Cam. We'll get you soon enough. And we're going to talk about these layoffs that happened at Stadia, so that'll be fun. I don't know. Stick around. Yeah, we could talk about this Stadia stuff up front. So I remember when the initial Stadia announcement happened that I was like, you guys, we got a fourth first party. It's no longer the big three. It's now the big four. Google's in the game. And I regret every fucking thing that I said on that episode of the podcast because I was like, yo, they got first party developers. Shit's about to be real. Google's out here and actually gonna put the time and effort into making this a thing. And the only good thing now.
What did we tell you? We said calm the fuck down.
Hey man.
We said chill out. We said it's Google.
I drank the Kool-Aid.
Track record of this. We got an idea. We have the budget to go through with our idea. Oh, we don't like this idea anymore.
Right.
Delete.
Remember,
Or they put it out to the public in a beta testing phase. Don't properly say it's a beta testing phase and fucks everything up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's Google Graveyard. So if y'all want to see all the things that Google's canceled and or launched and then shut down or bought and then shut down, or there's Google Graveyard online, which is just an interesting thing to look at. But, I was the people they hired on, and all those people are gone now. That was a crazy fucking thing. They hired on all these big names in the gaming industry. Jared Petty was at Stadia. I just made a Jared Petty joke earlier. They had Jade Raymond. They had, names in the video game industry. They had people who were, honestly passionate about gaming that are now fucking laid off and out of a job because Google just decided, hey, fuck it,
I mean, Shield shut down the Avengers, and they had a passionate team of people working, trying to create something,
You was talking all that shit about the MCU, 2 days ago.
Anime House is better than MCU. Fight me. I'm fucking serious. I stand by that. It's the same shit. All right, so they take a popular series, right? Cram it in literally a house. It's an ambitious crossover. They take little story arcs and segments from the source material and weave it into their own cinematic universe with not just anime characters, video game characters, cartoon characters.
Cartoon House was here. Luffy, what happened? I don't know.
Come on, all I'm saying is that I'd rather watch 2.5 hours of that.
Hey man, I mean, the way these anime houses have been going, you probably could just sit there and watch that shit for 2.5 hours.
Stay well.
thoroughly entertained.
Yeah.
Shout out to RDC World 1.
Yeah. Shinji's Adventures. Am I the only one that?
Shinji's Adventures coming soon.
Right, that's the.
Those folks before a convention. They're cool. Justin legit had a 30-40 minute conversation with one of the dudes. They were walking around the exhibition hall together and shit. They're cool.
Were they talking about Dragon Ball Z?
I don't remember what the fuck they were talking about. Justin's a pretty sociable guy, so I
Yeah, Justin is really
What's your favorite dojin?
Whoa. But yeah, so like I hope
Starts
all.
putting out numbers like a villain.
Hey man, it's me with business cards. What's your favorite Dojin? Check out my podcast.
That was our one biggest regret, I think, is that we didn't have business cards back then, and we talked to a lot of people and just didn't have shit to like really pass out.
Yeah,
Bro, I really fucking miss cons. Like, I'm starting to get to the point in the pandemic where I'm really missing social interactions, like real, live, physical social interactions with bars.
yeah.
People, like
Yeah.
different people, you know?
Like, I miss paying for an
Hang it with-
overpriced beer at a concert. Like, I miss that.
Right.
Like, let me pay $16 for a beer, bro. Let me pay it.
Yes.
I miss, like, I have a passive trait where I get a free drink from bartenders. Like, it triggers fairly regularly. So I haven't been able to activate that shit in over a year. You know how much free drinks I got like backed up in my fucking log? It's just insane. Let us out. Free us.
Now his camera's just gonna be fucked up for the rest. The fact that it kept moving after you stopped, it just shows like how hard you were shaking it,
Hashtag free everybody.
right? So I mean, update for the listeners. I got my second COVID vaccine, so that's why I'm Anton in extreme pain, LaPlatte, because the first one, like my arm hurt a little bit, like the next day, but like halfway through that Nintendo Direct, I started feeling it, and like I'm at the point that like I can't lift my arm for shit. It is just
Did they do
in.
it in the same arm both times?
I think so. But I mean, that was like.
You have to have somebody just box the shit out of your arm, dude. Like, I'm talking.
I
give you
would.
a
I'd
fucking
just
dead
die. I'd really
But
just.
when it recovers, it'll be stronger than ever. It's on some Baki shit, dog. Your dad has to come like just whoop your ass while you're already injured, and then you'll get up stronger than ever.
I'm good. I'ma just go to sleep, and you know,
I'm just gonna sleep this off. I don't need that.
right?
It's all on your
All
head.
right, when you wake up with tentacles tomorrow, I tried to help you.
Yeah, you know, I'll be immune to COVID and have additional appendages. Didn't we talk about this? About like if I had an extra arm, I just use it to eat chips while playing video games.
That sounds lit.
Oh yeah, so you don't have to use the chopsticks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can use the chopsticks to keep my hands clean. But if I just got a tentacle that's dropping fucking chips in my mouth constantly, you know, that'd be great.
Wasn't that like a commercial? Like a dude
Maybe.
was playing games and had like a third arm.
I mean, that sounds like something.
Sounds like
Like
a
every nerd's
Doritos commercial.
Like a Doritos commercial or something, right?
I mean, Doritos are the chips directly being targeted in this, so.
I wonder why.
These
Oh, if it was
vaccines-
years of marketing to gamers.
These vaccines were technically like our second opportunity at superpowers, right? All black people were supposed to get superpowers on what was the date?
December 21st, the solstice.
You didn't get
That
yours,
didn't
brother?
happen. I didn't get
Wait, you
mine.
didn't get
Like,
yours?
I'm still waiting. I didn't get mine. Like,
Hey,
maybe,
let me- hold on, let me see-
African American people. Maybe.
Let me
that's
see
why.
your black card.
God, you know what? I don't know where it is. I lent it out to a friend last week.
Oh, did you leave it in your other trousers?
I think so.
Dude, it's been hilarious. Justin trying to impersonate you in Twitch chats.
Fucking Justin.
You're like, yo, bro. I'm like, yo, hold on. Because I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard you say bro.
I definitely say it. You know, the thing is, like, I've known Justin for years, and I remember what Justin used to do. Like, we would be in a crowd of people and be talking, and then all of a sudden, Justin would like start talking like me, and I'm like, bro, and he's like, oh, my bad, I didn't even realize I was doing it. Like, you fucking liar. you know what you're doing.
You just got to start speaking American after that.
I know, right? I actually, in high school, I managed to convince a whole group of people that I was from Tracy, California, which I guess you don't know where that is.
Oh,
but
it's like
it's like a really boony area, like not too far away from here, like super countryside type shit. I used to live there, and I convinced people that I was from there.
I convinced
So I can-
people
I can
in
do
high
it.
school that I was like, that I had an Indian accent because they saw me for the first time and I was just talking like this and I was just hitting them with the Indian accent as hard as I possibly could and they straight up believed that shit. I was like they looked at me weird every time I talked normally from then on.
That nigga's appropriating our culture. He doesn't sound like that.
It's like, I mean, you're like I think you're along the same lines as me, right? So growing up in high school, I was always like too Indian for the black kids, right? But I was like too black for the Indian kids. So I was just like this weird midpoint.
I've used that exact sentence to explain my predicament in life multiple times. But there weren't ever any Indian kids like around me. It was just I am like when around Indian people, I am the black guy, and when around black people, I am the Indian guy. So
Yeah,
They'll just
dude.
have to hang out with each other, you know, and see what happens.
Create our own colony, our own group.
Yeah, that's how representation works.
yeah, I mean I got really excited because I got excited by The Rock in Moana. So you know, I'll take what I can get. Any wins I can get along the way, I'll take them.
Brown?
Even if it's like a slight tan, like, oh.
No, seriously, like anything animated, like anime, it's like, oh, they're not white? What's up? White coated, darker than
White.
that. You know, like,
Shout out my bae from The Great Pretender, by the way. What's her name? Is it Abby?
Yes,
Oh,
Abigail.
Love her.
Gail.
Love her.
Yeah.
She called that for a worthless virgin. I was like, yeah.
Abigail was really the goat. Like,
Yeah, she was fucking cooking edamame.
she was ready. Like, anytime. The only time she got fucked up was when she, like, went through PTSD because of, like, the fact they made her a child soldier and all that shit. But, I mean, outside of that, she didn't fuck up once.
No, like I really love how every like heist was basically Laurent trying to help them unpack their trauma.
Yeah, and then the last one was Laurent unpacking his
It's
trauma.
like, all right, now that you guys have helped me, now that I've helped y'all, let's help out the blonde bastard.
And Anamura's dad for some reason.
What I think I like really loved about her and about her character is that they didn't like try to oversell the fact that she was black, right? Like by giving her like all of these fucking stereotypical shit. Like she was just happened to be a black character. Like sometimes they go in on that fact, like trying to like really shove in your face that look, this person is black, by the way. Look.
But wasn't she Iraqi?
Was she?
Yeah, I
Abby?
thought the whole thing with the backstory was the guy who was in the military, fought in the Iraq War, and like was the pilot on the bombing mission that killed her parents.
Fuck yeah, I'm claiming her anyway.
Yeah. I mean, we also have Dorothy.
Yeah. And I mean, Dorothy was like even more light-handed. They kind of shoehorned her into the show, though. It's like,
Scammer of them all.
yeah, she was. But she couldn't survive. The fact that they shot Abby and then went and showed the whole thing, and then it's like, oh, so she might actually be fucking dead. And then it's like, oh, nope, this happened
You hear that
last time.
music? Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun.
Definite spoilers because I haven't seen all of the show yet. But
Oh, fuck. Well, just know, the last arc... Talk to me when you finish, because the last arc pissed me off in a way no other anime has. Like
Ooh,
that.
okay, all right. To switch it around, Cam, I know you're the resident Black Clover stan. How do you feel about the anime ending?
Ending?
Oh shit.
this
Well,
man stopped drinking his shit. Like what?
I have
Yeah,
news for you,
seriously, I
buddy.
didn't even take a full sip. They're stopping it after when?
Like next month. Yo.
Oh no.
Why?
They're
Why'd
bleaching
you do
it,
that to him?
except without the filler. I don't know if Black Clover has filler or not, but I know they're doing a bleach.
Not a lie. We don't know that. That's the thing. We don't know. Bleach took 10 years. There's a difference.
But
Right?
dude, it's like really good right now. Like, why are they stopping it now of all time?
They're literally ending it at the beginning of this arc, because this is literally where the arc, like, where they're going to end the anime is where, like, the arc is really starting, to be honest.
It's like Attack on Titan. They're ending, like, Attack on Titan has to end in, like, the next 6 episodes, I think, and Attack on Titan's manga is still coming out until April.
Yeah, but then at least with Attack on Titan, we're probably going to get like a solid like hour and a half movie of the ending, and then it's just feelings.
There's like 2 chapters left.
Yeah, but they're not caught up to even, like, they're several volumes behind even where those 2 chapters that we still have to go are. And we know that they have a finite amount of episodes, so
With this weird shit that they keep doing, Darren was telling me as well that I guess the new season of Promised Neverland like skipped an entire arc.
Don't get me started.
it's an alternate timeline. It is an alternate timeline. There is shit I know about the manga that is just completely thrown out the window by the anime.
They stepped foot off that farm.
Yeah.
They said, fuck.
Yeah, they diverged. They're like, this is another timeline, straight up. There is no...
The manga is completed, but they decided to say, fuck that.
Like, why is this like a new like Full Metal Alchemist situation where we're gonna get like
Yes.
The problem is we shouldn't be getting these things. Like,
Yeah.
Especially not with Promised Neverland. This shit's fucking over. Come on. If they're gonna Full Metal Alchemist it, if anything, it would be to flesh things out more.
Right.
Yeah, but...
And this, at first it seemed like, oh, maybe they are gonna flesh it out. But, a lot of the shit that I've seen, it's like, no, they're skipping it.
So like they don't explain like what the fuck's happened since they fucking left over the wall. Like they just
No, yeah. Stuff's happening after they go over the wall that didn't happen in the manga. And so people thought it was going to be filler, but then they skip Goldie Pond, and then I'm not going to spoil the shit that has happened recently in the anime, but it's just straight up...
Blank face.
Yeah, it's straight up a different timeline.
They ruined a very solid reveal.
that sucks because that first season, man, was solid as fuck. Like it was.
Yeah, the first season and the...
Well, you got to read the manga.
Yeah, I'm going to read the manga and keep watching the anime because...
No, I'm not watching that shit.
I'm enjoying it. As somebody without manga knowledge...
At first, I was going to watch that shit, and then it's at that point where I'm not going to watch it.
No, man!
But, Kim, what I'm saying is, you should read Black Clover.
Like my nigga Aster is just like on his glow up. Like he just starting his glow up, and they're gonna end the show.
Almost like they're about to go into the 1,000-year Blood War arc, and everybody's about to fucking show their true Bankai. But
Okay, and so where
it's
ending would be comparable to them ending the 1,000-year Blood War, like literally when those niggas showed up and murked everybody in Soul Society.
Damn.
That's the difference.
Is this like confirmed or is this a rumor? Like
no, it's confirmed.
Yeah.
Like they said, it's the final episode. I think they might pull. There's two things they could do. They might pull some Shippuden shit and call it something different, or which they're not. Which I know they're not going to do. Or 2, they're just going to wait and make it a seasonal anime as opposed to the way they do it now.
Yeah, because that doesn't make no sense. It's not like it's not a popular show, right? Like
it's fairly popular.
Yeah, it's damn near like the new Naruto almost. Like in terms.
No,
of
that
like,
last chapter was like just 1,000% Naruto energy. Like
Yeah,
more than Black Clover has ever been Naruto. That last chapter was Naruto.
All right. Well, we've bored Chris with anime talk for about a solid 20 minutes now. Chris, you really need to watch these anime. Like, you'd be super into them. You get invested in quality stories. And there's a reason we're so invested in these quality stories.
Chris,
you got me into watching My Hero.
You played Persona 5. Watch Great Pretender.
Oh, dog. Yeah, you gotta watch Great Pretender. It's on Netflix. It's not super long.
billion episodes. Don't worry. It's
Yeah.
in English.
It's an easy watch. It's not like super in depth either, but it's like a fun watch. Like it's
You'll-
an enjoyable one to watch.
You will only be confused for the first episode. After that,
It's the first amount of chunks to watch. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
watch series, watch this case, which is like 2-3 episodes.
yeah,
If you take it by case basis, you'll be done in a couple days.
yeah. The first episode, they have multiple languages. They have people speaking in Japanese with English subtitles, but it's just because they're in Japan. Once they leave Japan, everything's in English.
Okay, cool.
And they leave Japan in the first episode.
And they changed the language over in a really funny way. Like I really liked that first episode. I thought it was.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the show. I just have an extreme problem with the ending.
Why would you say that?
That sucks to like keep watching the show.
No,
knowing that the ending is.
The ending is...
Don't listen to Anton, y'all. Don't listen to Anton.
I'm not going to spoil it. You guys should just watch it and then form your own opinions, but I'm pretty sure...
Don't listen.
I watched it and formed my own opinion, and I was like, wow. Wow. Okay, so Final Fantasy XIV. We've all been playing it, except Cam. So, Cam, what we got to do to get you on the hype train?
Yeah, Cam, join us. I was in your shoes just last week.
So here's the thing. Like I've like talked about this before on the podcast. That like.
What
the game-
podcast is that, by the way?
Rusty Rupees, RR baby, stay rusty.
Wait, where's that podcast located?
Everywhere. Apple Music, fucking Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, Google, whatever the fuck that is now. It's everywhere. We out here.
Okay, so you've talked about Final Fantasy on the Rusty Rupees podcast. Shout out, gang.
Gang. Visually, it looks confusing to me. Like, I don't know. And I was watching you guys play it the other day as well, and I was like, yo, I don't know what.
After about 30 hours, it'll click.
Oh,
Yeah.
just 30 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only 30 hours.
100%.
No. So here's the thing. With me, I had to drop that game in like the first 10 to 20 levels like 3 times before I picked it up and just got all the way to level 50, beat the like main game, burning my way through the fucking post game. Like, this game did not click with me until now we actually have people to play it with. So when I'm doing like these dungeons and these trials, I can be like, hey, let's all do this together with the people who are higher level, which was not something that was happening in the early game. Like, the early game is really them trying to have you get your footing on your own.
Right.
But like, once you get to the point where you're playing with people and you start understanding your class, like, you gotta kind of pick a class and fuck with that class until you get like your specialization. You pretty much, by the time you hit 20 to the 25 range, you'll be in. Like
Yeah, because that's when you actually get your job. Is at
that level?
Yeah, you get your soul stone and you start doing your like job
Wait, that's
quest.
at 20? I thought that was at 30.
No, I thought it was like I could have sworn I switched over at like 25. I don't know. That's been a very, very long time ago. But
Just upgrade your class.
Yeah, before you
It turns
become
your
like
class
what
into
you
a job.
Yeah, and then
Unless
you would start doing
Class
like
is a job.
cooler job missions, and it teaches you how to do that like specific job. So you get your rotation, and then the game's main story kind of eases you in learning techniques and all the mechanics. And so by the time you're level 50, they're throwing you like all this shit at you, and they're like, okay, use everything you learned in this one dungeon, and it's gonna kind of suck, but you're playing with friends now, so it's fine.
No, I haven't had any issues. Like, I'm on the last part of the Crystal Tower. Like, I've done...
Have you done that one yet?
The third part?
Yeah, the third part's when the mechanics hit.
Oh, no. We burnt, like, I did the first part on my own, and then Darren was on, and he was doing the first part, so we just did that again, and then we did the second part together, and then we were queued up for the third part, and they kicked everybody off the servers for maintenance. And I just haven't.
No.
And since then, I've been doing, like, leveling roulettes and stuff like that, so...
Good.
and main story shit. So like I just beat Shiva. I'm about to hit Before the Fall Part 1.
How much
Look
do you have
at-
to pay monthly for that? You have to pay monthly, right, for your account?
Yeah.
Allegedly. So, I know you like the word free.
Exactly, and I'm waiting to hear it. So
There is a free trial that lets you play up to level 60, the base game and the first expansion.
Which is really good. Like, you should play it for Heaven's Word alone. Like, Heaven's Word is...
But
That is...
Oh yeah, but you can't party up with people. That's like the main problem. You can't like like the stuff that
by yourself?
yeah, like so that's the only restriction I've seen on the people who are playing on their trial accounts right now is that they'll be like, "Oh, I have to do this duty." I'm like, "Oh, I'll come help you." Oh, we can't party up because that's one of the restrictions of the trial version.
So they have to do it by themselves, or they can join with just random.
Yeah, they have to matchmake for the like stuff like that. So,
Okay.
but and certain stuff it instances you off, so you have to do it solo no matter what. But that's like not very often. So like, you can be on the server with us. You can see us. We can all hang out, walk around. We can do dances. We can listen to Kingdom Hearts music in the fucking hub. Like, you can do pretty much... You can play that game for free for the base game and the first expansion up to level 60. No monthly fee. You don't even have to buy that shit. They just fucking give it to you for free at this point.
You can honestly play it as a life simulator and go in there, you work. You pick up a non-combat class and you just go.
Yeah,
out
pick up a
there.
trade skill. Pick up culinary, botany, alchemy, carpentry.
Yeah,
Become a miner.
You can make money selling your goods and or products. You can go from server
Buy a
to server.
house.
You can find a house, buy a house.
Let me ask
If you can find a house.
what do you like about the game? Like, what drew you in? Like, especially like I think those of you
have
that
you
were
ever-
skeptical at first.
Have you ever injected a needle of heroin into your veins?
Actually,
I
there
haven't.
was this one time.
There was this one time in '83, but
And Tracy?
I was like 14 in Tracy.
Every time you say that, I'm picturing Tracy Ellis Ross, and we're getting farther and farther away of the narrative of Tracy Ellis Ross for this.
I like where this is going.
We got to get it away from the heroin before we can reassociate her with this.
But if we talk
Juwan is
about
trying to tell me the
heroin,
magic word. Juwan
the
said magic
female
word.
hero.
Near.
Oh yeah, there is a near raid. So if you're into near,
there is 2 near raids.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a
one
third.
It's not a sprint though, brother. That's the marathon.
yeah, you have to pay by the.
None of us are close for that.
Well, Chris and Jalen.
Jalen might be close. I know Chris is there.
I'm almost there. I'm almost
did
there.
The first
See,
part.
that's another thing. Y'all are all like hella high level already, or at least higher than what I would be entering.
That's
I'm
all,
level-
but that's part of the best part, though.
Bro, I'm level 20.
That's part of the best part, since
Why?
you need one character to have access to all the classes. So what's gonna happen is, if we're playing with you, we're just gonna be on one of our lower level classes.
And it level syncs. So even if you were doing the paid version and we were doing a duty with you, if it's a level 16 duty, it's gonna like level sync all of us to that level. And so like all the like multiplayer content is level synced. So like if I was like, hey, I need help on Shiva, it level synced everybody to level 50. And so that
It's gonna be like Monster Hunter, where we're just curb stomping everything.
Heck, just go on Spotify and turn on that soundtrack. Just
It's so good.
when that Shiva music hits when she casts Diamond Dust, just every time. Every time.
I didn't realize I was muted, but I was just vibing mad hard when she like after that. Madrid, I see you.
I know you do.
So for audio listeners, Madrid's booting up the Guilty Gear Strive demo, which just went live about 20 minutes ago, or this Guilty Gear Strive beta. So if you pre-ordered, you can play now. It'll probably be over by the time this comes out, but we're going to be playing Guilty Gear Strive, and we're going to talk about it on next week's episode when we have Justin from the Rusty Rupees, because he is a big Arxis guy. Like, yeah, man. It's almost like I put thought into when the guests were going to be on the podcast. But yeah, so the thing with Final Fantasy XIV, have you enjoyed Final Fantasy before, Cam?
No, 7 Remake was my first Final Fantasy game.
Ooh.
Yep.
Well,
Since then, I've
Did you
bought,
beat it?
Yeah, I beat it.
Ooh, what? Look at you. Beating the game.
Since then, I've bought 10 and 10-2 on Switch and Zodiac Age on Switch
Oh,
to try and get
shit.
into more. That's not what people tell me. They tell me that 10 was
You
not.
know, I know people like 10. I'm being super biased because there was a part in like a little trial and it's not some like explicit on what you're supposed to do, and I was stuck there streaming for like 20 minutes. So I said, "Fuck this."
Yeah.
That
So
happened like 2 Final Fantasy Februarys ago.
yeah, so like that's part of the thing. One of my New Year's resolutions for this year was during the month of February to get into Final Fantasy XIV. So like I've checked that box as far as like, and I've been drawing. So like both my New Year's resolutions, I'm hitting on really strong. Like, so. And yeah, I usually, like, my New Year's resolutions are usually, like, read more books, play more games, draw more, like, stuff like that I can, year over year, compare, like, okay, last year I didn't read any fucking books, so this year, the 5 books that I did read, like, kind of, like, incrementally, like, chip away at that resolution over the course of the year. So, but Final Fantasy XIV... it will make you interested in other Final Fantasies. Like, the stuff we've been doing lately, Final Fantasy III is one of the few Final Fantasies I've never touched. And the Crystal Tower stuff is...
You gotta get it on DS.
See...
It's a good time.
What I need is, like...
But instead of playing that, just play Bravely Default. If we're being 100, just play Bravely
Exactly. That's the problem with a lot of the older Final Fantasy games. Like, I have an affinity for 4. I have an affinity for 6. But, like...
The most important ones are 1, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10...
Yeah, they get incrementally
And
more
that's
important.
maintenance.
Yeah.
I fuck with 5 though. Like 5 has a little special place, right?
I have 5. I have a Japanese cart of Final Fantasy V for the Super Famicom that I'm just waiting to get an SNES so I can break the tabs off so I can play this shit.
If we're being 100, 9 Slick might be the best one. If we're being 100.
Yeah,
14 might be the best one. I don't know. Like
14 has an unfair advantage, but
Right, that it has content from all the other games.
pretty much. It's the
Like,
Final
we have to
Fantasy
fight a
over its
Rathalos in
Final
that
Fantasy.
game.
And then on top of that, you just stick your own, like, being immersed in the world. No other Final Fantasy will have you immersed in the world like that.
that's true.
Like, we're waiting for everyone to meet up so we can go do a dungeon, and there's this random bard playing the Kingdom Hearts OST manually. Just
well,
in the middle of
no,
town.
I found out what that is. That's like a plugin that's like a mod for the game that lets you just like
Even better.
I thought you could plug up a MIDI keyboard and just have it work out the box, but it's a mod you have to install on the PC
No,
version.
but the bards do have a manual input though. There's a manual like input to do that from within the game.
Oh,
That's cool.
How many people can you go into a dungeon with?
depends. Base
Yeah, you
level
got-
is 4. Then there are 8-mans. Then there,
I think once you get past that, you're getting into raid status.
yeah, but raids will
You
be
have light
like
parties of 4, you have full parties of 8, and then once you go past that, you're in alliance raids.
Which is 3 parties of 8.
Okay.
which is fun.
Yeah.
And the good thing is, like, people, unless I just seem to deal with douchebags pretty consistently, but it kind of has the Monster Hunter vibe of people are trying, like, if they see it's your first time, they'll, like, try and explain what you need to do and, like, help you through it. But I just seem to always play with douchebags who are like, fucking do this! And I'm like, yo, I don't know how to do that. You gotta... Yeah, and I like, you could play DPS, you could play healer, and you won't get it. Well, healer, you might get shit because people start dying. It's definitely the healer's fault. Unless it's
Well,
if the
if
tank
DPS
starts dying, If I start dying as the tank who's tanking correctly, that's the healer's fault. I'll put it like that.
Okay, but you have to be using your cooldowns.
That's
The
true.
amount of tanks that believe their cooldowns aren't buttons to be used.
Oh no,
It's a problem.
I try and do that stuff, you know. But
Press the
also,
buttons.
battle
If
axe
you're
go
a DPS
bonk.
that's wasting.
I seen
If you're
one
a
boss
deep-
fight.
Oh, sorry.
Where I saw one boss fight where I think I seen like Anton drop off the stage or something. And-
Oh
Ah,
yeah.
That was Titan. That was funny. That was
That
and then
funny.
was
it was
hilarious.
over. It was over in like 10 seconds, and I was like, "What the fuck even happened?"
Well, yeah, that was just because. So,
That
like,
was-
they level sync you, but your gear still has, like, the same stats. So, like, all the people I was playing with are in the most recent expansion or the, like, expansion before that. So, their gear was able to keep them alive through the stuff. They just didn't have all their crazy abilities and shit. But, yeah.
That was me and you, Jalen, in simulation, right?
Oh, Simmons.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you and him were in Shadowbringers and Jalen's in Stormblood. So
That was fun.
that's the thing.
hilarious.
Even when crazy wild shit happens in that game and your tank gets fucking knocked off the stage, you can still have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, we still won.
Yeah.
Still won.
You just go into
Stomped it out.
like,
There were like two of you. Two of you stomped out that thing. I was like, "Oh shit."
yeah, you just go into raid mode, and I was like, I cannot take any mechanic damage, and we'll be okay. Jalen's got
See,
this.
just pay attention to what's on your health plan, and everything is fine.
Rates went up after the tank died.
But yeah, so like, what? Have you played an MMO before? Have you gotten into an MMO before? No?
No,
Okay.
wow.
This would be my first.
Not even RuneScape.
Nope.
See, I've
Have you
never
been pictured
enjoyed a MMO before, and like the MMO aspects of Final Fantasy is what has turned me off up until this point. So like, I could see you. What I'd recommend is start up the game on the free trial. It's completely like you can. It's on the PlayStation Store. Download it, start it up, give it a try. Like, I'd say just try and stick with it till you hit level 20, and just at some point something will click that it'll either grab you or you'll fall off.
Right.
And I mean, for the low price of $3.99, like, it's worth it, you know?
Man, that's the magic word. I'll try anything if it's free.
Even that hair on.
Man, I told you one time in Tracy.
It sounds like a
you do
Quentin Tarantino movie.
You do have one time in Tracy.
One time in Tracy.
And it's about exactly that.
You do heroin one time in life, and niggas don't ever let you forget that shit.
Good. I'm glad people around you are holding you accountable for doing heroin.
You complain about COVID injections. It was hard.
Other than the fucking things that I need.
14's a shit.
14 is the shit. Anton, you went out.
And the story is so good. The story is amazing.
I'm like shook. I might have stopped recording a while ago.
Oh no.
Nani?
Oh, come on.
Big Nani, why'd you stop?
It's fine. Y'all just keep going. I'm going to fix all of this. I'll fix it. Don't worry about it.
Just blame it on your numb arms. It's because of COVID, man. It's because
I really don't know what the fuck happened. I've completely lost. Yeah, shit's big fuck. Yeah, stream's still up and we're still recording video, so I really don't know what the fuck happened. Alright, but yeah, so now that we're approximately 40-something minutes into the episode, I guess we could start talking about this Nintendo Direct that happened.
Woo.
And
That did happen today.
yeah.
It did happen.
It was
That wasn't an email.
It was over 500 days since the last proper Nintendo Direct. And it was a 50-minute showcase that was some bangers and a lot of misses. But like I started to realize that my impression of Nintendo Directs, like, was this. It'd be like all these interesting things, like sprinkled throughout, but a lot of filler and a lot of bloat. So
I felt like it was decent. Like we were talking about it afterwards, and we're like, was there anything that you were just like, no, that looks like complete shit. I'm not even gonna give it the time of day.
there's a lot in here I'm not gonna play whatsoever. They'd have to fucking pay me to play a lot of these fucking
There were
games.
plenty of games that I had zero interest in, but I see where those games would have a market.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like even
Yeah.
the Girls game where we were like, but like it doesn't look like a shit game. It's just not a game that I would play. But like I can
Right.
see like little girls liking that game.
Right. So, like, I'll go through it in chronological order, and we can kind of talk about what was happening. I'm going to send Alana the watch along we did, so maybe she can just put that up on YouTube. So, like, people, if you want to, you can see me and Madrid's live reactions to it. But they started off with what seemed to be some Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC. I was like, I don't know anything about Xenoblade Chronicles except the battle system looks not fun whatsoever. Like, the world and the story and the characters all seem cool and interesting, but watching that was like watching Final Fantasy XIV when I didn't want to play Final Fantasy XIV. Watching fucking Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is like shoving nails into my eye. It's like, this... I'm sure it's a great game. I see Darren in the chat saying it's a great game, but...
I heard it's like legit one of the best games on the system, is what I've heard people say.
It's actually good.
Yeah,
Like, it's actually good.
I'd totally be down for it, like, but, they showed all this stuff. Then they showed that basically it was Pyra, one of the blades from the game, is going to be in Smash Bros. And then later on they showed that Mithra is going to... She's like a Zelda Sheik before they became separate characters type deal. So you can transform in between them. They have separate final smashes. It seems really cool. There was like a moment where Pyra and Shulk had an interaction. So I'm sure Xenoblade fans like shit themselves when that happened. But what do you guys think about the DLC characters so far? Because now DLC Pack 2 has been Min Min from ARMS, Steve from Minecraft, blanking, Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, and then now the two girls from Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
It's definitely all over the place, so
Yeah.
that's cool.
I find it to be very consistent. I think it's consistent with how the DLC characters have been lately. It's been a character from a Nintendo game, couple of characters from a Nintendo game, and a couple of guest characters from insert popular game that's been popular forever.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean,
I think I was
Xenoblade
surprised
Chronicles
with
2
I was
is-
surprised
I mean
with
that
Steve.
that kind of leads to the inconsistencies because it's from different. It's consistently inconsistent. It follows a pattern.
I feel like
but,
the
it's hitting
priority
across
on the
the board.
Nintendo characters are Switch games. Like, do they have a
Mhm.
game on the Switch?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Because
as
ARMS is on the Switch.
as it should be.
Xenoblade is on the Switch.
This is the Switch's Smash Brothers, so that only makes sense. And how many old IPs are they still really missing that aren't represented in some way?
Madrid's just out here fucking playing the shit out of Guilty Gear.
Testing it out,
Like, really what it is, like... Because if you really look at what people say on Twitter, most of the characters they're trying to get are either a guest character, which is always is. It's always a guest character.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's a character from one of those games that Nintendo just hasn't acknowledged in like 100 years, like 1,000-Year Door. Like, that was a great Mario RPG, but, we've moved past that.
Right. It's
One said
probably
one.
not going to happen.
That's all niggas want is Sora. Give niggas Sora
Right.
and everyone will be happy.
They're a Disney character. It's not going to happen.
not gonna happen. We gotta accept that.
Yeah, we got Hero and fucking
Disney is
Sephiroth. We got 2 Square, but
Even the fact that like Sakurai was commenting one time on how hard it is to get like different licenses and shit, like especially for music. That was pretty much him saying like, "Yo, we're not getting started. Trust me, we've tried." Because you know what, Disney, they're gonna be like, "No."
all right.
You know Disney would like.
Is that what's holding things up? You think is the whole Disney thing?
1000%.
No, that's why
Oh, yeah.
Sora isn't going to be in Smash at all, because Sora is a Disney character. That's the thing about it.
Hell, he's hardly in other Square properties.
He was more in Frozen than he would be in fucking anything else.
Fucking Mauschwitz don't want to let shit go.
I don't know who that is.
Mauschwitz.
Wow.
Oh, damn.
So, Fall Guys is coming to Switch in the summer, which seems kind of late for this game. Like, Fall Guys, we said early on it'd be a perfect Switch game, but unless they introduce cross progression, like, I'm not starting that game over on Switch.
No.
And I mean, they didn't
Is
even.
there crossplay at least? Did they say anything about crossplay?
Not yet, but I mean, I also haven't been watching the Fall Guys Twitter account the way I used to, so it might have crossplay now, and I just don't fucking know it. But I mean, it was the most Nintendo non-Nintendo game that I had ever played, so
It belongs there.
yeah.
The trouble is that there's too many fucking games. Like there's been a lot of really good or really fun games that have come out, but there's just too many. Like I enjoyed Fall Guys, I really enjoyed Spellbreak as well, but like it's just finding time to like put into these games and like get good at them.
You have to have that time and content release like kind of balance, because you know, if you're playing something, you want to be rewarded for playing it, so they have to have the content there for you, like as far as like skins, just different cosmetics. And then, like, what's the content like? Are we going to keep, like, just loading into a match and throwing out spells? Are you going to mix it up somehow? That's what's keeping Apex super relevant. Because, you know, every season, they're like, all right, we're going to have events. We're going to roll out with different skins. And we're going to have some different modes just for y'all to try out some new shit. That may or may not get worked into the game in some form or fashion. That's what's fucking up Avengers. Where's their content? Yeah, I'm gonna take shots at Avengers.
Didn't they just drop an update? I seen
Yeah.
something about
And it's getting its next gen version finally. But you know, I'm gonna wait till I can pay almost
You say
nothing
finally,
for that
like
game.
you were actually interested in that in any sort of way.
Yeah, I'm morbidly curious about that game. I want to play the single player, and I want to play it at a stable frame rate. So, I've been
on Black Friday for like $20, I think.
right, and I mean, like, all the content is free, so like I might wait till this Black Friday and just get the fucking game. Call it a day, you know? By that point, maybe Spider-Man will be in it, you know? Maybe the game will be turned around by the end of 2021. I mean, even if it's not, I'd pay $20 for that single player.
Heck, the same might happen to Anthem.
See, the thing is...
I forgot about that game.
It's possible. Like, I may hate on these games, but I would like to see them play.
Look at No Man's Sky. Wasn't No Man's Sky bad for like an entire year before?
Yeah, we have these examples of like No Man's Sky, Final Fantasy XIV, like these games that were bad and like... Destiny 2, maybe.
Well, I
Destiny
meant Destiny
2
as a
did
franchise.
fall
We
off.
go through this rise and troughs with that franchise every like 6 months to a year.
Well, yeah, but you wouldn't put Destiny in the same conversation as a No Man's Sky or a base Final Fantasy XIV.
That's why I mentioned it. I think that's how I felt the way about base D1. I felt like literally that moment for me was was Taken King. Actually, was specifically Taken King.
Destiny 1, the people who were into Destiny 1, early into Destiny 1, didn't feel like they were promised something that they weren't getting. That, like, as somebody who played Destiny 1, circa House of Glass, we were playing the Destiny that we were promised, and we were enjoying it. It's not like No Man's Sky where they promised multiplayer, and it's not like Final Fantasy XIV where it came out as a broken mess. Like, Destiny 1 came out and was a game that you could play with people and do the Destiny thing in Destiny.
The problem is, at that point, the Destiny thing wasn't good.
Yeah, it was. It was not good for you as an MMO player, but for as a console first-person shooter player, it was good. And they weren't even pretending to be an MMO back then. Like, people put those assumptions on it, but that wasn't Destiny's pitch back in those days. Destiny's pitch back in those days was, this is a game from the developers of Halo, published by the publishers of Call of Duty. And it hit.
But that's the thing about it. It was boring. That loop was boring.
Play with friends.
Like,
I remember
about
the
it's like the
commercials.
Yeah, and I could shoot shit.
One loop to be horrendously boring. That's not
because
good.
It was fine for the people who were playing it. The same way Destiny 2 is currently fine for the people who are playing it.
I mean, Destiny 2 just came out with barely anything. In my opinion.
True. Yeah.
Kind of consistently getting updates right now, actually.
Well,
I mean, when we first got it,
Destiny 2
the main
was
story.
Destiny 2 was more shallow than Destiny 1 at launch. Destiny 1 at least had
absolutely. It was called RNG.
Did they get like best community support in the Game Awards?
Probably. That sounds right. I know it wasn't Final Fantasy XIV, and a bunch of people were pissed.
Should have been 14.
No, that was last year for best ongoing game when Shadowbringers came out and Fortnite won it, and I was mad.
Yeah, but I think 14 was nominated for best community support this year, and I think it lost to Destiny 2. But this was
assholes on 14.
Right.
It's the housing crisis, man. No one can get a house.
But
that's why they're giving us their own islands in Endwalker to deal with the house.
Back to this.
Everyone goes to this deserted island.
Back to this Nintendo Direct. I'm going to have to go through these fast because there were a lot of announcements. But I feel like the beginning, the middle, and the end were the important things. So.
Wait, so all of it?
No, like the first thing they announced, the thing they announced in the very middle, and the very last thing they announced.
Okay.
So Outer Wilds is coming to Switch. For anybody who doesn't know, that's a game that is like sci-fi Majora's Mask.
Annapurna. Shout out Annapurna.
Yeah, Annapurna they be out here. Check it out if you were into Majora's Mask or if you're into a sci-fi space adventure.
If you're into being in stable time loops, you would enjoy this game.
Yeah. Famicom Detective Club is finally coming to North America, and judging by the name, these are either NES or SNES games that are getting like a re-release on Switch as like visual novel style things. It is these games are $35 a piece, so it is $70 to get these two games on Switch, which I wouldn't pay that for these games, but
like good old Nintendo tax.
Yep.
Right.
That Nintendo tax. It's a fucking luxury.
The next game they showed was Samurai Warriors 5, which is probably going to be coming to other platforms as well. But, I mean, they seem to do well with their Musou in Age of Calamity.
Put all the Musou games on Switch.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it.
Fire Emblem Warriors, Hyrule Warriors.
2 Zelda ones.
Yeah. So, a Persona one. So, yeah.
The only thing that worries me about these kind of games on the Switch is like, I mean, from the Age of Calamity and fucking even Strikers, like I heard that the Switch doesn't do too good in terms of frame rate.
It does not.
No, not at
But
all.
here's the thing. The Switch audience doesn't seem to give a flying fuck about resolution or frame rate. They just want to play video games.
Fun.
Right.
I just want to play video games and have fun.
It's because they've been abused. They settle for less, Well, it's not really less because a lot of Switch titles are going.
No, maybe I just want to cut down 100 Angry Samurai on my lunch break while I'm at work.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just what I want.
People who get the Switch got the Switch for a reason. No one's like, it doesn't look like my PS4. They don't care about that.
What if they don't have a PS4? What if they don't have a PC? What if they don't have an Xbox? What if this is their one console and they want that shit to run like stable?
Hey,
Then they shouldn't have bought a Switch. It's cheaper to get their hands on a PS4.
but they can take it everywhere.
Exactly. They had to prioritize. They're like, oh shit, I have to let my daughter play with it or something,
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, and with this new cloud shit, anything could potentially come to Switch, right?
Don't do that. The cloud shit is... We see what Stadia fucked up at the beginning of the episode. PlayStation Now is not good. I have great internet.
XCloud
okay,
is
Google
okay.
quit, so we're gonna have to quit now too because we're bored.
Did anybody try Control on Switch?
Yeah, and it looked like somebody took Control, dipped it in Vaseline, and put it on the Switch. And it looks even worse in retrospect because I just played Control Ultimate Edition on PS5 with fucking ray tracing, and it looked great. It looked amazing and ran... I was running it at 30 frames per second because I wanted the ray tracing and all the, like, graphical bells and whistles. And so you could run that game at 60 frames per second, but... I'm not going to spoil myself. Like, that'll probably be after I beat the story, because the ray tracing is lending so well to the atmosphere of the game.
What do you think about that game? Do you like it?
Yeah, it's better than I was expecting. Like, I was expecting a good game, but I was like, kind of lukewarm on it. But it's good. Like...
Yeah, it's really good. It's the, like, artistic direction that they fucking took with, like, blending... like some like real cinematography with the CGI. It's creative. I like
that shit is clean.
Yeah, it's really
And so at 30 frames per second, like most of my games, I've been prioritizing frame rate this generation, but Control's a game that unless I'm used to playing it at 60 frames per second, a lock 30 is good because of the cinematic feel for it. But yeah, Samurai Warriors 5's coming to Switch this summer. It's probably coming other places too. Legend of Mana coming to Switch with remastered hand-drawn backgrounds. Rearrangement of music. OG soundtrack also included. You can turn off enemy encounters, and there's a new minigame. Alright. Monster Hunter Rise. I'm not going to make this a squad sessions, but the Monster Hunter Rise trailer they fucking dropped was ridiculously hype. It was the only trailer that I went back after the show and like paused in every scene and was like, oh, this is in here. Oh shit, this is crazy. Oh yeah, if you blinked, you missed shit. Like, if you didn't do what I did after the show and go through scene by scene and like take note of the stuff, like, I did that, and I didn't even notice that there were new Silkbind moves shown for, like, the hammer and the charge blade. Like, they finally confirmed the two monsters that we didn't know what they were in the demo. Like, the armor sets for the two monsters, they finally showed them. They confirmed some of the other monsters that we knew would be in the game because their armor sets were in the demo, but they just hadn't confirmed them yet. And they showed a couple returning monsters that we just didn't know would be in the game at all. Rajang, baby!
We here, boy.
only that I seen a hunter riding Rajang, like,
Yeah.
what a time to be alive, bro.
That was
I'm
like
here for a good monster mech battle. That's what it is. There's a bunch of monster mechs taking it out.
They finally showed the rampage, which was hilarious. There's like this one shot of Kezu just kind of like moseying through, like all the other monsters are charging the gates and fucking flipping out and doing all this crazy shit, and Kezu's just like like moseying through, and it's hilarious. So Monster Hunter Rise, I'll talk about this in more detail. Like, if you guys want to watch the watch along, that I definitely went through in detail, like all the new armor sets they showed, all the new weapons they showed. I went through all the new monsters, all the like. They showed the desert area, they showed the volcanic area, they showed a lot in this really short trailer. They packed so much into it that I had to go through and scene by scene, like, oh, fuck, pause. Like, what was that? Like, they showed the Mitsuzune Greatsword, which looks fucking great. But, yeah.
Bro, I seen a scene with all of them on one wire. Like, I know I seen that shit. I'm gonna try and pull it up again. But it looked like they were all swinging on one wire.
I mean, for me, that's not, like, the Wirebug's cool and all, but it's way cooler for Silkbind moves and not as much for traversal. But I think I know what you're talking about. They were, like, probably in the desert for it. But yeah, so Chris doesn't completely mentally check out. The next game they showed was Mario Golf. It's called Mario Golf Super Rush. It's coming June 25th. Has motion controls. It has a new mode called Speed Golf, and it has a story mode.
Until
I've always enjoyed
they
the
started
Mario
running,
sports games.
it looked like Hot Shot. So
Well, yeah, Hot Shots was based on Mario Golf, but people were complaining, like, they're like, oh, well, Hot Shots hasn't been around. That's because they were able to get the license for the Japanese name. So if you want to play Everybody's Golf on PlayStation 4, it's there. It's like an open golf course. I'm not sure if it's fully open world, but, like, yeah, if you want a, like, current-ish generation game, Everybody's Golf is just Hot Shots Golf. But it's always been called Everybody's Golf in Japan. It's like the Biohazard Resident Evil deal.
okay, cool.
So Everybody's Golf on PS4 is the Hot Shots Golf that you want. So check that out if that's what you want. The next games, they kind of like rushed through some of these. Tales from the Borderlands is coming March 24th. The Capcom Arcade Stadium is coming today. And my recommendation for that, it's a free download, and for the first few weeks, Ghosts and Goblins or Ghouls and Goblins or whatever the arcade one is called is free. It will not be free for, like, after the first couple months. So just hop in there and download that and download the free game. And then apparently it'll be some more free games coming along.
It also, it comes with 1984, which is a pretty fun game too, for free.
Yeah. Stubbs the Zombie is coming March 16th. That's just an OG Xbox game that apparently people have an affinity for. I didn't have any. Like, I was like, oh, okay.
Some people fuck with Stubbs.
Yeah, some people fuck with Stubbs, so it's there if you want it. No More Heroes. You said what?
You're like playing as the zombie in that game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So No More Heroes 3 was shown. That shit looked bonkers as fuck. It was like, maybe I should actually go play a No More Heroes game because of how weird it was.
Fucking nutty.
Fucking off the wall. I've never played it, but I've seen like enough footage of the other games to know that they're fucking off the walls as fuck.
Yeah, but this one seems to be like taking that shit to another fucking level.
Yeah, it looked like the world looked akin to Gumball, where it's just like, all right, here's just a bunch of different animation styles / video game techniques, just pumped into one game.
So yeah, that's coming August 27th. The next game they showed was Neon White. It's coming this winter. The thing I did notice, this is another Annapurna game, and it is from the guy that made Donut County, Ben Esposito. So, like, everything I saw, it looked like a Ghost Runner kind of game. And while I did enjoy Ghost Runner, and I probably wouldn't play this on Switch, knowing Annapurna, it's also coming to PlayStation, and I might check it out because I fucks with Donut County. And so if this is the next game from the guy that did that game, I'll fuck with it. What would you say, Cam?
I said they straight up look like Aran cars from Bleach.
They do. They really do.
That shit looks so cool.
The next game they showed was DC Superhero Girls Teen Power, coming June 4th. This is probably the worst looking game in the entire showcase, if you're not a preteen girl. But I mean, you know, there's an audience for it.
Mm-hmm.
Plants vs. Zombies.
Preteen girl.
Alright, Madrid, you gonna do a stream of DC Superhero Girls Teen Power coming June 4th to the Nintendo Switch?
Maybe if somebody gets it for me, I'll stream it.
All right, we go. Plants vs Zombies is the next game. The Battle for Neighborville Complete Edition is coming March 19th to Switch.
Yeah, that's their Overwatch.
Yeah. Third, it looks a lot more like their Fortnite because the Garden Warfare was more of their Overwatch, and this seems to be more of their Fortnite. Save the World mode, not Battle Royale mode. So, I mean, people seem to like those games. Like, I enjoyed, like, original Plants vs. Zombies, and then just as time went on, like, I enjoyed everything Plants vs. Zombies did less and less, and this was the point where I didn't even give it a shot, so I'm definitely not going to be playing this on the Switch. I'm sure I could play it somewhere else, but, you know, meh. Miitopia's coming to Switch, which was a 3DS game that it looked like a Street Pass game, like the one you did with your Miis, where you were like doing dungeon crawls with your friends' Miis and stuff like that. But this just seems to be a port of the 3DS game to Switch. Then they went to a first look at the Mario themed items that are coming to Animal Crossing for the Mario 35th anniversary. It's coming February 25th, and the most interesting thing that I saw was that you can get a functional warp pipe on your island. So you can put, like, if there's somewhere you know you're constantly going, you can put a warp pipe by your house and put a warp pipe by wherever you're trying to go, and it'll actually work. So that's pretty cool. It's not just like set dressing. Cool. But I mean, I'm not going to pick back up Animal Crossing just because I can teleport in it now. Then we got to Madrid's apparent game of this show. Project Triangle Strategy was revealed. It is
ready. I want it.
War for Iron and Salt.
That's the Fire Emblem fan base right there. Going to war again.
Yeah.
Yo, okay, so I actually started playing the demo, and it seems pretty narrative driven so far. That art style is, the music is good. The voice acting seems really solid. This game's gonna be some heat when this project drops.
Yeah, everybody was like, oh, they're not going to actually call the game Octopath Traveler because it used to be called Project Octopath Traveler. I'm like, they're going to call this shit Triangle Strategy, and they're going to continue with their head-assery of naming games shit like Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy.
You had 8 paths. You had 8 paths.
That's not a good name. That doesn't make a good title. It's still a
perfect name for it. Each letter represents the character's name.
Yeah, honestly, when they went and retconned that shit in there, that shit did make it similarly cooler. And I'm sure at some point, Triangle is going to be an acronym for something, but it's still the fucking
replace Project and replace it with Scale, because that Scale motif is going to be staying with you the entire time.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be called, like, the Triangle Scale or some shit.
No, it's going to be called I could see maybe Tri-Scale Strategy, which is slightly a better name, but last time all they did...
Like, okay, yeah, Tri-Scale Strategy. No, scratch that. Stratagem. Yeah.
But I mean, it's the newest game with the HD 2D look, similar to Octopath. There's a demo available now, and judging by what they did with Octopath, they're actually going to take the feedback from the people who played the demo to help improve the final game. It's not coming till 2022, so we're probably going to get another trailer for it. If you're into Final Fantasy Tactics or Fire Emblem or Octopath Traveler, check it out. It's all of those things at the same time. The next game they showed was probably the worst looking game outside of that DC game in the entire showcase. Knockout City is coming to Switch May 21st. And
that looked cool. We were all like kind of
y'all played Destruction All Stars.
I didn't play. I didn't get a chance to play it. They played it. Yeah, I mean, It looks fun, man. It's fucking dodgeball. Who doesn't like dodgeball?
I'd play a dodgeball game over whatever the fuck this is.
I mean, if this is free to play, I'll give it a play and see if
It is, right?
Just like Ninjala.
I didn't even play Ninjala. I deleted Ninjala.
It's worth a shot, bro.
Yeah.
I got Final Fantasy. I got Guilty Gear. I got Persona.
Did you have all those back when that shit dropped? No, you didn't.
What was I playing on my Switch when Ninjala dropped?
You don't even know.
I don't. I just know whatever the fuck it was better than Ninjala. I could play Splatoon and have more fun than Ninjala.
Wow.
Well, but also, I really love Splatoon.
Right.
I bet you do.
Good time playing that.
World's End Club is coming to Switch May 28th, which is the new game from the developers of Danganronpa. And it looks like just a Tokyo-wide Danganronpa game. So, that looked...
I want to see what it does.
Yeah, I'd say if you like Phoenix Wright or Danganronpa or the 999 games or anything in that vein, check out World's End Club. It's probably right up your alley. Late May, so we don't have to wait long for it. Hades got a physical version announced. It's coming March 19th, and it's going to have an art book, the soundtrack, a physical copy of the game, and I think that's it. Yeah. But, you know, I'm not going to spend any more money on Hades until I get a PlayStation version, because I want to play Hades on my PS5. Please and thank you. Supergiant, I have all your fucking games. Pretty much everywhere they're available. Just give me Hades on PlayStation.
I'm sure they're working on like some cool features to add to it, perhaps for the haptics with like each weapon. That would be really tight. So I can see them taking extra time to kind of like cultivate that and build that up. You know what I'm saying? Or like just some cool shit with like this. I don't know.
Hey, it just goes to show how big of a game this was, because I was expecting it to get like a limited run release or special reserve or like one of these smaller distribution companies.
Right, like my physical copy of Transistor that I have up there on PS4, I got from Limited Run because their previous games were like limited run things. But I mean, Hades has been their biggest success.
Yeah, I have Transistor from Limited Run as well.
Transistor boys.
Haven't played it yet, but I have.
What?
I've played like an hour or two of it.
Fuck.
Twist the night.
Transistor's just so good.
They did Bastion too, right?
Yeah, they did Bastion, Transistor, Pyre, and now Hades.
Did they do Ruiner as well, or no? That wasn't.
No,
them?
that was a Devolver published joint. Supergiant self-publishes. But the next game they showed was the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, which is Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge. Coming June 10th. You know whether or not you're into Ninja Gaiden. I hope this collection comes to PS4 / PS5 / Xbox, all the things, because...
Same. Is there anything blocking that from happening?
No, because it's just a Koei Tecmo game, like... Team Ninja, you know, they're going to do their thing. I mean, Neo is pretty much out everywhere, and Ryu Hayabusa is in fucking Neo. He's called Ren Hayabusa, so...
Oh, no way.
Straight up. We're like, somebody was like, oh, this looks like Ryu. And then I looked at him, I'm like, this is just straight up Ryu.
Right? Wasn't Kuma like streaming that?
Yeah, Kuma was streaming it. We were watching Kuma stream.
Yep.
Shout out to Akumasanti.
Yeah.
He's about to drop a new project. That shit's gonna be fire.
Oh, hell yeah. Can't wait for that. Bro, I'm not gonna lie. Ryu was putting you in a blender, dog. I think it's a fucking problem.
Alright.
Justin's been streaming Neo lately as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting Neo 2 sometime soon. I was gonna get it today, but instead I got Mario 3D All-Stars, because I want to play... I haven't played any of those Mario games, and so it was a convenient way to get all of them, and that game's not going to be available after March, so it's probably one of my most valuable games I own already. So, Age of Calamity DLC announced. There's going to be an expansion pass. Nobody was asking for this, apparently. Like, even the people who were, like, in the Age of Calamity, like, nitty-gritty didn't seem to want it. But, I mean, it's only $20. So, it's not as egregious as some of these other season passes that Nintendo's done for their first-party games. But I'd like to play Age of Calamity with a stable frame rate. Like, I've been looking for a Musou game, and I know Persona 5 Strikers is preloaded on my console, and I'm ready to go once it's ready to go, but Age of Calamity seemed like I'm into Breath of the Wild, I'm looking for a Musou game, I just don't want to play it as a slideshow, so... If you enjoyed the game and beat it, there's an expansion pass coming soon. Like, you can get the expansion pass now. You'll get bonuses on May 28th. June will be the first wave of DLC, and then November will be the second wave.
Nice.
I looked through all the stuff on it, but it did not seem... Nothing was like, oh my god, I need to get Age of Calamity, play through all of it as a slideshow, and then get to this stuff. Saga Frontier Remastered, coming April 15th, includes new content. This is a game that every scene they showed from it just looked like a scene from Final Fantasy VII, the original. Take that how you will, but that's what it was. So Aonuma showed up on the Nintendo Direct, and everybody thought this meant Breath of the Wild 2. Everybody thought this meant Zelda HD Collection. Everybody thought that we were going to get something super exciting because Aonuma don't leave the house for no small shit. So he brought up Breath of the Wild 2 and said, development is going smoothly. New information later this year.
Japanese game developer handbook.
Yeah, that shit really... Development is going smoothly.
How often does Platinum Games say that about Bayonetta 3? Every chance they...
Please be excited is the other one. I mean, Aonuma, like, Breath of the Wild took fucking years to come out. And he kept saying development's going smoothly and please be excited.
Smoothly.
Speaking of Bayonetta, is Bayonetta 2 ever gonna come off
No.
the Switch and onto other
Nintendo published it.
Never?
Nintendo published it, so no.
That got her into Smash. Straight up.
But so, Aonuma came out, no Breath of the Wild 2 information, which broke my heart. And then they showed Skyward Sword HD, which, after watching a couple YouTube videos, certain people were really excited for this. Apparently, Aonuma had been teasing this for like 2 years leading up to this. He had been teasing it since Twilight Princess HD came out. That, yes, Skyward Sword HD is going to be a thing. So, from my knowledge of people I know who are really into Zelda games, this is the worst Zelda game, period. The worst main series Zelda game. What main series Zelda game is worse than this? Exactly. When Jalen doesn't have shit to say.
But that implies that the game is significantly worse than it actually is. That's my problem with
It's just
statement.
It's the worst one in the series. Like, it is the worst mainline Zelda game, and you can't name a mainline Zelda game that is worse than it. Even if it's like fucking Smash Bros. Like, Brawl is the worst one in the mainline Smash Bros. Games, but, like, and I mean, Brawl has its merits, but it's still the worst one at the end of the day. So, Skyward Sword HD, coming to the Switch. Use Joy-Cons for motion control if you want to do that, and you can do button controls for like the Switch Lite, or if you're playing with the Pro Controller or whatever.
Joystick to fucking swing the sword. You're
Yeah.
using the joystick.
So to swing the sword, you are flicking on the right stick like Skate. So the right stick is like your sword, like your right hand's your sword hand. I remember that was a problem people had with Skyward Sword, was that Link was right-handed.
Well, it's because they didn't have an alternative grip, so it's like if you were left-handed, you still had to swing your right arm, and the Wii motion control just wasn't, even with the Pro thing. It was hampered by hardware more so than gameplay.
Right, and so now with the Joy-Cons that are actually good at motion controls, maybe this will be the way to play it. Alongside that, they announced Zelda Joy-Cons. The right one is based off the Master Sword, and the right one's Master Sword, left one is Hylian Shield. They look pretty cool, but they also confirmed during the Monster Hunter segment that Monster Hunter console is coming to North America and that Monster Hunter Pro controller is coming to North America, and I needs that Pro controller at the very least.
Needs it.
And I mean, if somebody wants to buy a Pro controller and my Switch with an extra pair of Joy-Cons so I can buy the Monster Hunter Switch and Pro controller, hit me up.
He's selling it for $400.
Well, 360, but you know, Pro controller,
Come on, Pro controller.
2 sets of Joy-Cons. I'll give you the sets that work. Fuck it.
You can find it too. It's the switches right there. You know. Just saying.
So Skyward Sword HD coming July 16th, and then the last thing they showed was the thing. This is when I was like the beginning. We got a new Smash character. Middle, we got Monster Hunter information. And then end, Splatoon. They showed Splatoon fucking 3. Which is something I was like, what is this? Because I knew it was an inkling. I was like, I'm not expecting Splatoon 3. Because Splatoon 2 was like a launch title. Or it wasn't even launched for the Switch. It was launch window. But I mean, it had its DLC. I feel like Splatoon 2 ran its course, and now they're showing fucking Splatoon 3. They showed a new bow weapon. Like, I was out here thinking that maybe we're getting like Splatoon Monster Hunter or some shit. Just like the kind of vibes is post-apocalyptic. Yeah.
It's because at the final Splatfest they chose Chaos instead of Order. So
Was that the final Splatfest?
Was it the final?
I mean, that would make sense because the outcome of the final Splatfest of Splatoon 1 dictated a lot of the decisions made in Splatoon 2. So, if that was the final Splatfest, Chaos... Yeah, you see Chaos in this Splatoon 3 trailer left and right.
Yeah. Oh, a cool thing that like the community pointed out is that the characters aren't gendered, so you can kind of just pick.
You make what you want, be who you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Splatoon was already kind of good about that as far as like non-binary. It was like, do you want to play as a boy or a girl? And it didn't automatically default to boy. You had to like, it would put you like center, and you either choose left or right to go to boy or girl. And so like this is just, and I mean the hairstyles were cross-gender and stuff like that. So it is more of a interesting. It's just them being more accepting to people, non-binary people, like trans people. It is them being, and I mean for Nintendo, that's saying a lot. Like I know some Nintendo games have been really good about that, but also at the same time, for a really long time, you could only be a boy in a lot of Nintendo games. Like everybody wanted to play as Zelda in Breath of the Wild, but you could still only play as Link.
Hopefully Breath of the Wild too. They're like, fuck it. We listen.
Show me more of that fucking game. You guys have no idea how fucking insane I went when that sequel to the Breath of the Wild.
Metroid Prime 4 so much longer than Breath of the Wild even existed. Like,
very true.
Let's
That's
go.
true.
This is how a Nintendo operates. They have you waiting 30 years for these games. Then when it comes out, of course you're going to buy it. Because you waited 30 years for these games.
But the fact that they showed us, it was like a dungeon, like Link and Zelda were down in a dungeon and doing, like, you don't have any footage of Metroid Prime 4.
Also like, but then also part of me's like, I'm happy about this because what happened with Cyberpunk? The more a game is in the news before it comes out, the worse it tends to be.
Yeah, development is going smoothly. Please be excited.
Like the most important thing was heard. Development's going smoothly. Everything's fine, you know?
Because with Metroid Prime 4, didn't they scrap that game like 2 years ago?
They changed developers.
Start from scratch.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It went from not retro back to retro.
Yeah, they brought it in house.
Gave it back to the people who made the first 3 games in the first place.
But I mean, Aonuma made Breath of the Wild. They are using reportedly the same map, the same engine. Oh, apparently there is a rumor that Skyward Sword is just going to open the door for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess to come to Switch this year.
Is that a rumor, or is that somebody trying to manifest it? Stay woke.
Let's see.
That might be someone misinterpreting how they were talking about in a direct how Skyward Sword was the beginning of a lot of the mechanics in Breath of the Wild.
I'm surprised they didn't announce the collection. Also, this game is going to be full price as well, $59.99.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I paid more for Wind Waker HD on the Wii U than Wind Waker was at launch. And, like Nintendo games don't go on sale. So part of me was contemplating getting Wind Waker on GameCube off eBay because it was cheaper than Wind Waker HD was on Wii U.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not surprised in the slightest by that information. I'm still really mad I stopped recording like fucking forever ago. I don't even know how the fuck this shit happened, but it happened.
Shit happened.
Alright, well, does anybody have one more thing before we wrap the episode for the week? Anything stood out to any of y'all?
It's gonna be lit.
Yeah, No More Heroes 3 does look like it's going to be lit.
I want to fight some aliens.
Do wild shit. Wasn't he like mowing grass in the fucking trailer?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, aren't you
dumbass fucking mini games to get it?
Are you a Shenmue fan? Or is it Justin who's a Shenmue fan?
No, it's definitely me.
You're oh yeah, so you're excited to mow some grass as Travis touchdown.
Hell yeah. Give me some completely trivial ass shit to do. And
Is that what you've been playing, Cam?
No, actually. The only game that I've been playing is the shit that I've been streaming, which is fucking Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. Incredible game, by the way. I recommend everybody to play that for the experience alone. It's up there, man. It's good. Really good.
Slaps.
Yeah. They put a lot of thought into that game. A lot of thought.
All right.
Yeah, a lot of devs doing that to that degree. It's a short game, 8 hours or so, but it's worth it.
Have you finished it already?
Yeah, I finished it during the last stream. And then they have like a little making of type video, and when you realize like how much shit went into it, like they were working with psychologists, fucking psychiatrists, like different mental health specialists to make sure that they like fully understood what it's like for somebody to have schizophrenia and be going through psychosis, to try and accurately recreate that experience in the most like truthful and respectful way for the player. It's phenomenal, dude. It's a really good game.
Yeah, shit like that is really dope because it helps you kind of like get a different perspective and like kind of understand where other people are coming from and what they have to deal with. So I love seeing shit like that.
And they just one day I'll play it. They incorporate like everything into the game, right? So like a lot of when people have schizophrenia, they tend to like find like meanings and patterns in shit that the rest of us wouldn't necessarily see, right? But they see patterns in everything. And so that's a mechanic in the game where like to unlock things, you have to find like certain rune shapes in the shape of trees, or like a fucking shadow that's being cast by light passing through a certain shape of window, and you're trying to like find that pattern. Dude, it's crazy. And the whole time, voices in your head are either telling you like, don't do this, you're going the wrong way. And then another voice in your left side is saying, don't listen to her, you're going the right way. And then another voice saying, you're gonna die. And it's just like, fuck, dude, it's crazy.
You were playing with the headphones?
Yup, I played with headphones throughout the whole game. It's crazy.
All right. Remember, you can follow us all collectively around the internet, cheesycontrollerpodcast.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Anton6, 3X is Chris.
Chef and Chris.
Jalen.
Squid Bishop.
Madrid.
Speedwagon X.
All right, Cam, where can people find you and what you be doing with your life? Because you not only are part of the Rusty Rupees podcast, you also make music.
I do. So you can follow me anywhere at Flyritchie. You can find my music on Spotify. I go by Pierre. My album is out now called Vertigo. And then you can find the Rusty Rupees anywhere at Rusty Rupees. Rusty Rupees with 2 Y's on Twitter, because Twitter some hoes. Oh yeah. Hosty.
All right. The video version of this podcast is edited by Lana Twisted Mind. The audio version is edited by Akumasanti. Until next time, keep it cheesy.
Cheesy.